Every single person in this world has a story to share. Your story is your superpower, and it's unique to you. In sharing it with the world, you can impact millions of people. If you keep it to yourself, you are doing the world a disservice. This is Dela. I'm the host of Dela's Voice, and I help you share your superpower with the world.
I think I was muted. Welcome to another episode of Dela's Voice Sunday Live Talk Show. Let me just take a moment, as usual, to pay my gratitude for having this platform as a tool to live my passion, which is to bring inspiration, information, and motivation for health, for wellness, for recovery, and for change. It's my pleasure to be here again one more time and bring you a fantastic guest. Today we're talking about freeing from the chains of the past. A lot of us still live with those painful memories of the past, and we don't know how to let go. And we have no idea how they're holding us back. Today's guest is an incredible woman who has lived through so much. She has lived through her struggles. She's lived through trials and tribulations. She has been able to free herself from the chains of her past. And she's here to tell the story. And she's here because she is helping other people now to do the same, to live their best life. What a life worth living when you are free from the pains of the past, that nothing is holding you back. I want to introduce my guest today, Teddy Noev. And here's a little something for you to know just a little bit about Teddy. So Teddy is the author of Your Best Life Reclaimed, a fantastic book about her journey. She grew up in the communist Bulgaria, experiencing a difficult childhood. She came to the United States in 1992 with $20 to her name. For years, she struggled with eating disorders, poor self-image, and depression. I'm getting goosebumps because I can so relate to this. Her journey to healing started with becoming a personal trainer and a nutritionist. She competed in Phil Heath bodybuilding show in 2013. Teddy lived a victim story, but she has also left it behind. Today, after having had a career in education for 20 years, she is now sharing her story, and she's helping others become empowered, inspired to live their best life. this is a superhero, and I'm so, so blessed to have her on the show today. So, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Teddy Noev on Dela's Voice. Teddy, welcome.
Hey, Dela, how are you?
I am so good. Thank you so much for being here today. I am so happy that we've been waiting for this for a long time. So I'm so happy that the day's finally here where I can hear your story. Your story is so powerful, Teddy, and there's so much in that story that I can relate to. And honestly, I think a lot of people can also resonate with your story. So thank you.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
It's awesome to have you. So I just want to take a moment, Teddy, if we may, to say hello to all the people who are with us. I want to make sure that we say hi to them. I want to make sure that we welcome them. And thank you so much for spending this hour with us. I hope you get inspiration from this talk. And I hope that you feel the need to share this with others, because there's no accidents. I don't believe in accidents. I always believe there's a reason why we show up at a particular moment in our lives. So share this talk with others. What do you think about what I just said, Teddy?
Oh, absolutely. I was having goosebumps all over as you were talking. And as I was listening to your introduction, of course, we all have stories to tell. And I love the saying that our stories are our superpowers.
Yeah.
When you think about it, things don't happen to us. Things and our stories happen for us.
I love that.
And when you think about it in a very deeper aspect, if life was so comfortable, actually, comfort is one of our worst enemies. If we're comfortable, we have no reason to change, we have no reason to evolve. And many of us have stories to tell. Unfortunately, some of us have some heartbreaking stories to tell. And what some people did to us is not right. It's just poor, just wrong. But I can tell you, these people probably have their own stories to share. That's another conversation. But what happened to us, we have no control over, but we choose what to do with our story. I tell my clients, you get to tell your sad story once. Because if you keep replaying that story over and over in your head, you become the main character of that story. You become the victim. And with that, you develop a victim mentality. Your choice today to live and relive that story is a choice you make. So you get to tell your story once and live it and leave it behind. And
I love that, Teddy. So you choose, okay, this is exactly it, right? You choose, your story is your story. You choose to either be the victim of your story or the hero of your story.
Exactly, because we have no control over what happened before, right?
Yeah.
But our choice to remain the main character of that story today is a choice we make. That's it.
That's
So
it.
tell your story once and leave it.
That's it. Okay, so I want you to share your story. And I want you to share it because there's so much inspiration in that story. And I love where you're coming from. So and what you do with your story today, it's so powerful, Teddy. So why don't you tell us a little bit about your story today?
Yes, I would love to. Like you mentioned earlier, I grew up in communist Bulgaria, and I was abused in more than one way. I had a very low self-esteem, and I found that food became my best friend. You know, children that go through a lot of trauma and abuse, they often are left with a feeling of no control over their life and what's happening to them in their life. So food becomes something they have or perceive having control over. With this being said, I developed a devastating and humiliating eating disorder as a young teenager. I was really starving myself. I was not even overweight. I was starving myself for weeks and weeks, counting every single morsel I would eat And of course, those periods of deprivation led to periods of extreme binging. My life and my weight was a roller coaster, and my emotions were a roller coaster. So I came, like you said, to the United States in 1992, and I came with a lot of baggage from the past. So in my book, Your Best Life Reclaimed, actually in chapter 1, I describe one of my lowest moments of that life. So I was 23 years old, and I was going through this period of binging. So I was reaching in a pantry for the next food to stuff myself with, thinking I reached to grab a cookie from a box of cookies. And I remember I was repulsed. I was taken aback by the horrible taste of the cookies I had eaten. I went back to the pantry and I read the label of that blue container, realizing I had just eaten dog treats. So I remember sinking to the cold kitchen floor. I remember those tears rolling down my cheeks, the humiliation, the pain, the despair. I can tell you, Dela, this was the lowest moment of my life.
Oh my gosh, yes.
So, like we said, I lived the story. I was a victim, very poor self-image. My weight was a yo-yo, my emotions were yo-yo, but I lived that story. And the beautiful thing today is I help and inspire other people who may relate in any way to my story, how to leave it behind. Because life is beautiful.
Life is beautiful. I want to show a picture that I have of you from 1992. So this is just a second. I'm going to remove us so people can see.
I smile, you will see there is a lot of pain I'm hiding.
Yes. Unfortunately, the picture, the top part is not showing because it's not the right size, but a lot of us hide behind habits because we are going through so much pain. And I know that for me too, Teddy, when I was younger, food was kind of like a remedy for me, a temporary remedy. And then later on that turned into drugs. But there's a lot that we have to work on to get out of that. So what did you do, Teddy? What happened after you find yourself on the kitchen floor and you find that you realize you just ate dog treats? What happened?
Dela, I wish I could tell you that was the last time I overate and I binged. Unfortunately, that is not my story. It took me years. In fact, it took me decades to overcome my low self-esteem and eating disorder. And it was a process. Really, it started with learning to forgive and learning to love myself. And I'm telling you, forgiveness is a very difficult concept to embrace because forgiveness is not for the sake of others. It's not because our abusers truly deserve forgiveness. It's about ourselves. Because as long as we hang on to that feeling, we still remain the victim in that relationship. Forgiveness is for our own sake. Forgiveness is, when you think about it, breaking those chains of the past that hold us to that thought, to that feeling, and to that victim mentality. Forgiveness is for you. And it's a very difficult concept to comprehend and even put into motion. But forgiveness sets us free and stops the vicious cycle of the victim mentality. So that was my first step, learning how to forgive for my own sake. Forgiveness is not like having a thorn in your toe that somebody else put in there and not removing that thorn because you did not put it in there, right?
Yeah.
So your hurt, your pain that was caused by somebody else needs to be removed. And it's your responsibility. It's our responsibility. I also did a lot of soul search and a lot of reading. I became a personal trainer, and I found that when I was helping others achieve their own weight goals and personal goals, I was healing myself as well. And that helped me as well. Nutrition, becoming a nutritionist, helping others lose the weight and see the glow in their face, and reclaiming and regaining their happiness gave me a reason to help even more people who were like me and finding their happiness and freedom. So that was a very liberating feeling, helping others. By the way I was helping others, I was helping myself too, and they didn't know it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that how it always works, right? Yeah. Teddy, I want to know how did you start on this journey though? Like, you know, it's a big step, going from that victimhood mentality to becoming who you are today. Where did you get help? How did you know you need, well, okay, first of all, I need to ask you, like, because a lot of people stay there. A lot of people would stay there forever and ever and camp there and live their lives that way. But how did you know you needed that first step?
Do you know what? Like you said, many people stay there for a long time. And if any of the viewers can relate to eating disorders or even alcohol, using alcohol as a sedative to kind of numb the pain,
Yeah.
we often are very embarrassed by our experiences because we don't want to be perceived by these people that are, oh, they're drinking, they're overeating, this is so no good. So having support system, having someone that love you and accept you for who you are, reach out to your friends.
Yeah.
There's, especially today in our internet age, there's so many free resources online too. But there's a fine line when to seek professional help.
Yeah.
If you have truly tried those resources, you talk with your trusted friends, you read. If you still find yourself clinging to food every time you feel stressed, overwhelmed, judged by others, or that glass of wine that becomes almost a necessity every night after dinner or maybe two, coming to the realization that we're probably numbing pain instead of feeling it.
Yes.
And you know what? Positivity is great. We're all in an age of everybody's like, oh, positive thinking, positive this, positive that. But I can tell you, Dela, positivity, when it's taking away for the truth, does nothing for us. Being positive and not feeling the pain does not help us. So I have to tell our viewers that you have to go through the pain and you have to embrace the pain to live and rise above it. Reach out for help. There's so many wonderful coaches, people and people out there that can help. But also when you're choosing that person that helps you, look at them, look at their bio, their lifestyle, but look at their track record. You don't want that perfect person that has never experienced what you're experiencing today, that has never been at the bottom of very bottom. So when you choose to work with someone, trust is very important, and feeling safe, somebody that can guide you along the way, but somebody who truly is passionate and understands where you are because they have been there. That's very important.
Yes, super, super important, super important. Teddy, I actually have loaded up the picture in a different way. Let's see if I can show your picture from 1992, because I think these are fantastic. Just testimonials of how you have transformed your life. So I'm just going to put this up and let's see. There. Okay. Now it's up.
Yeah, that was me. This is what I looked like in 1992. And that was what, 29 years ago? And I'm still 29, right, Dela?
Of course.
Just making it clear for the record.
Of course.
But yes, I was very unhappy. And you see the shy smile. But every time I felt judged or I feel not loved enough, guess what I was doing? I was going to the pantry, and we're talking about tons and tons of food, sweets, then salty foods, then sweets again. There were times I ate so much and I binged so much I could not breathe.
And I'm
That
looking
was
at this picture, Teddy, and you don't look overly obese or overweight.
no, I
Like,
was never, you're correct. I was never obese. I was blessed, I guess, in a way that no matter what I did to my body, I was probably about 35 pounds heavier than what I'm now. But I can tell you that the look and my physical appearance has nothing to do with the internal emotional devastation I was feeling like a failure again. And this is what probably many viewers feel sometimes. And there's myths about bulimia and overeating disorders, because people think that people that suffer from these eating disorders are necessarily obese or fat. And while I was about 35 pounds heavier than what I'm today, I was not really fat. But many people that suffer from emotional eating disorders, they look normal, but it's their emotional being that is affected. It's their psyche, it's their worth, their self-worth.
can I just say that I've lived that, Teddy?
Tell me, how
Yeah.
did it uh, manifest itself in your life,
Oh, well,
that
yeah,
pain?
yeah. It was just that I think for me, it started when I was, when I was 13, and I had just moved out of Iran to France. And it was all of a sudden going from a country where you were all covered up. I was now free to show my body, right? I was now wearing clothes that showed my shape. And at 13, I was so, just aware of every little detail. At 13, I mean, low self-image for sure. And I wanted to impress, and I didn't know, and I was new to the culture. And it was just, and it started showing up in me as periods of not eating, starving myself, and then going to through those periods of just just eating everything that I could get my hands on. And then again, going through dieting extremely. I think a few times I tried to even make myself vomit, which I didn't succeed at, thank God. But yeah, I went through those things. What I'm saying is, I wonder, Teddy, and I don't know the statistics. What are the statistics of young women or men who suffer from self-image, and they really put themselves through these horrible experiences? I don't know. Any idea of statistics?
That's a good point. Last statistics that I read is at least 60% of women suffer from emotional eating disorders, but like you said, the guys are there too.
Of
The
course.
guys are being affected too. The trend being with more and more young people being affected by humiliating eating disorders. And why? Think about it. Think about the pressure we put as a society on our youth today. Here in the United States, the pressure of performing in school, we have all these STAR tests. We're teaching robots, we're teaching test taking strategies, we're conditioning and programming people. They're having these kids today, they have so much pressure to perform. And mind you, the pressure is one size might fit all. They do not take into account the different learning styles our beautiful children have. We raise failures. And when one feels like a failure, what do? They find their own escape. And oftentimes these young people binge and overeat, hiding from their families silently, or they go to the other extreme. They starve themselves. They're not hungry. They're not hungry for lunch, Saturday lunch. They're not hungry for dinner, yet they hide silently in their room or closet and eat that bag of chips and all these 12 cookies. And these people are crying out silently for help. And guys, I want to tell you, you're not alone. It's okay to speak up. It's
Mm.
okay. Reach out to trusted friends, share with them what's going on. It's very important for us to give voice to our feelings because we know our voices have colors. And sometimes, if the color of your voice is black, where you're going through gray, you're not feeling good, embrace it. But just give voice to your feeling. Express yourself through talking, through writing in a journal, write a song, write a poem, express those feelings. And we humans, we put labels to everything, right? Good, bad, ugly, beautiful. Life is. And life is beautiful. I look at things at a spectrum. Who wants to live happy, happy, happy life? How much happier and higher can you keep going if you happy is your only goal?
Mm.
It's beautiful to feel the rainbow of all these emotions and feelings we have been gifted with.
Yes. And you're so right, because without one, you can't really feel the other. How can you feel the high if you've never felt the low, right? So I want to show the picture of you.
Sure.
So beautiful.
Like you said, yeah.
Hang
That
on.
was breaking the chains of the past. But like
Oh
you
my
were
gosh.
saying,
It's
how
so
can you know
beautiful.
happiness, what happiness is, if you did not know what unhappiness is? And yes, this was me at age, I believe, 44 or 45 here, breaking the chains of the past. And do you know what? It's a very inspiring picture, even for me. I remember that day when I took the photo shoot because I was chaining myself to all these experiences by reliving the abuse moments, by reliving the sad story. And you guys, do you know what? These things happen to us, but it's ultimately up to us to break those chains. So I challenge you, I urge you today, stop the victim mentality, break those chains of the past, and become a victor from the victim you were once.
Oh, so nice. Oh my gosh, that's such an inspiring photo.
Thank
And
you. Thank you.
it's not because of the beautiful body. It's more than that. It's very powerful, like you said. It's that thick chain, and the chains that we all have, that we, and most of us, we have no idea. They're holding us back. And so, Teddy, we're going to share 5 ways today to find freedom and reclaim your best life. And so we want to come back to that. But I wanted to reach out to our viewers today and, really encourage you to think about what's holding you back. And drop it in the comments section if you can think of a single thing that's holding you back from the past. Have you had any experience with what we've been talking about? Like Teddy says, a lot of people are going through this. 60% is staggering, but I think still, I believe it's higher than that. And for, especially for young men, because men usually don't talk about these things. We don't hear men talking about what's holding them back, because they gotta look strong. They gotta, they gotta hold up that image. So speaking up about these things allows us to normalize these feelings, these emotions, and allow more and more people to come forward and talk about them, because ultimately we want to break free of those chains. So
Absolutely. And
yeah.
if I may say, Dela, I did say the statistics show 60%, but keep in mind, the statistics are based on what people have opened up to share, right?
Yes.
Like
Yes.
we said, many people are crying for help silently. So, yes, you're correct by saying that there's probably much more cases of people struggling with low self esteem, still living the victim life, and emotional eating disorders, and or drinking, anything to numb the pain.
Yeah.
But like I said, reach out. And vulnerability, I have to tell you, there is a very powerful thing. There is strength in being able to be vulnerable. There's beauty in that. So embrace yourself for who you are today. Reach out, be yourself, and be bold and be vulnerable. You are enough and you're beautiful.
Oh, yes, yes. Um, Teddy, so we're gonna just take a moment and take a break and come back. Just want to make sure that people are breathing through this. It's a hard topic to talk about, and if you're watching this right now, drop us a line so that we can see you and say hello and engage in this conversation because it's super, super important. Teddy, you have been kind enough to sponsor the show, and I want to make sure that the viewers are seeing your website that's scrolling by, yourbestlife.solutions. And this is your website. What can people find on this website?
Okay, so when you go to yourbestlife.solutions, you will find what I'm about. And I'm about helping anyone who in some way is still holding on to a past life and past pain and not living their best life today. So you'll find my story, what I'm about. There are different services I offer. I offer one-on-one personalized coaching for people that want to take the time to heal from their pain. We remove obstacles and I help people design their best life and how they plan on doing living it today. I offer group coaching on living your human design, living your life aligned with your design, and as well as corporate and educational power webinars on wellness, nutrition, managing time and stress, and of course, living your human design. And I'm going to talk about human design in a bit later. But in the resources section, you will find a very powerful, I believe, short but very powerful self-assessment. How can you leave the pain from the past? And are you ready to live your best life today? So when you go to my website, you will go to resources tab, and there you will find the free self-assessment on reclaiming your best life today. And last but not least, you can find a link to actually, you can download the free chapter 1 of my book, Your Best Life Reclaimed, and you'll hear that story. I gave a snippet of when I had just realized I had eaten dog treats. So that's chapter 1 of my book. Get your free copy today, download it. And there's the link to purchase my book on Amazon, Your Best Life. And if you'd like a personally autographed copy, email me, and I'd love to personally autograph a copy for you. Just email me at teddynoev@gmail.com. Thank you, Dela.
Teddy, you kindly gave me the link to that self-assessment, and I'm going to display it for the viewers in the comment section, and go ahead and click on that. That is a really good tool, by the way. What does it do, Teddy?
Well, it is a good tool because oftentimes I believe that when experts talk about a certain topic, we kind of share everything we know and we leave our audience just hanging. It's like there's opening and there's closure. I'm all about the other side, my client. What is their takeaway from what I just talked about and what I shared? So this assessment would help you realize if you have certain feelings and emotions that trigger you today and that affect now your life today because of what happened years, decades ago. And are you ready? How ready are you to take the next steps to your liberating, your reclaiming ownership of your life and happiness? Because, I believe that oftentimes we're given these crossroads in life where we need to make a choice. I've had enough. I've had enough of being the victim mentality and everything. And I believe our choice is now. Our choice is today. Because we're worth it.
Life's so short. Life's too short to not want to live your best life. That's what I want to say. Um, so we're always encouraging that whatever it takes to take one step even towards living your best life. So what a gift. What a gift, Teddy. I dropped the links, by the way, the to the
Right.
self-assessment tool in the comment section. Go ahead and click on that. Hopefully after the show, and you can fill that out and see where you are. Just want to say hello to some people who have left us comments: Frida, Mernaz, Sharon, Jack. Jack says, what to do when a friend lives in denial? As a friend, what can we do?
That's a good question, Jack. Do you know the reason many people live in denial is because of the embarrassment, because there's so much pressure from society to be that perfect person that we never are. We always feel short of being. But it's a good friend, be there, support them, offer your compassion, offer your acceptance. But ultimately, it is up to a person to take the leap of the first step. You cannot help someone who is not ready to get help.
Yeah.
So all you can do is be a good listening ear. And that's the beginning. When they feel safe, actually, when they feel non judged, they'll eventually open up to asking for help. So be good, that good listening and not judgmental ear. And hopefully your friend is going to realize that it is time to get help.
That's important. Yes, we all need that friend who we can trust. Okay, Teddy, we better move on. Let's go.
Okay.
Okay, so 5 ways to find freedom and reclaim ownership of your life.
All right, let's get started. I already talked about the first way.
Yeah.
Actually, it starts with forgiving others,
Yeah.
forgiveness, letting go and forgive. Those people, our abusers, had their own stories to tell, but forgive them and free yourself from those chains, because that's the only way. When you break those chains, you allow yourself to move on into the present. You know, depression and oftentimes drinking, eating, and everything is a form of depression, because depression is reliving the past in and out. Anxiety is going in a future, some kind of unforeseen future, and both those extremes are preventing us from living in and out. So let go of the past, live in and out. The present, that's your gift to yourself. So that is my first step, forgiveness. And the second one is something we were raised not to do. I'm sure you'll relate to that, Dela. Feel free to share. Loving yourself.
What is that?
Exactly. Oh, that's selfish. No, no, no. You give and love and give and give and give. Yet you even don't know how to love yourself, right? And that's beautiful, because many clients that I work with, especially women that want to lose weight, I believe they have it backwards. They're like, oh, when I lose the 30 pounds, then I'm going to love myself. No, it's the other way around. You gained those 30 pounds because in some way you did not love yourself. You did not accept your body for who you are. And you were either binging, drinking, or whatever. Love yourself. You're a beautiful being and you are enough. And you know what? I often do this love meditation. I love listening to music, to all kinds of music. I have eclectic taste when it comes to music, but I listen to that beautiful bamboo fountain music, and I wrote my own love meditation. And I'm not going to share every single word of it, but it has to do something that remembering the love I was brought to this world with, because we were all loved on a very deep and profound level. And we need to remember that feeling because it's within us, it's deep within us. Love yourself. It is not selfish.
Oh,
That is very important.
that's so important. So important.
Do you relate in any way to being raised by a culture and society where loving yourself was considered selfish and was shamed?
Who doesn't? Right? I don't think it has anything to do with culture. I honestly, this is one of those really, I think, human things, global things. I don't think any of us were, well, maybe the odd person who was lucky. A lot of us weren't raised with those teachings, Teddy. A lot of us weren't raised hearing this, love yourself, love yourself. We've always heard love others and show love to others, show love to others. And this concept of self-love is brand new to me, brand new, like I'm saying, in the past 4 or 5 years, ever since I started my transformation. So this is, it's once you realize you cannot love others truly until you love yourself.
Absolutely.
I don't know. Teddy, I want to take a moment because someone's asking, what is your website for nutrition? People can reach your website right here, your bestlife.solutions, for nutrition advice as well, Teddy.
There's a blog that based I put sometimes a comment, and if you're interested in participating in that, pop in a question in a blog and I'll be glad to engage in a conversation about nutrition and or exercise, because I have very unorthodox views when it comes to nutrition, all these diet myths and everything. So yes, drop in a comment there and I'd love to engage and answer your questions. Good point.
Yes, great point. And I just a moment, because I do want to say this is coming from this woman, okay? This woman, the person, the mind behind creating this body is knows a thing or two about nutrition, I would
Believe
say.
me, I've learned the hard way through my trial and errors. So yes. Yes.
And once again, your book is, someone is asking, your book is called Your Best Life Reclaimed. And it's Teddy's story of how she broke the chains of the past. Someone was asking, that's why I want to bring it up. Okay, so number 2 is self-love.
So absolutely loving yourself, because when you love yourself, you show the best version of yourself to others in the world. And that's how you best love and care for others too. So love yourself first. The third one is boundaries. Okay, let me say one more time. There's so many different boundaries when you think about it.
Again, what the heck are boundaries? No.
Exactly. And there are physical boundaries, there are emotional, spiritual, relational. But ultimately, many of us that suffered, went through trauma and abuse in our life, at some point, our boundaries were violated. Okay? So we need to heal and restore those violated boundaries, because our boundaries are there to protect us. It's like a bubble around us with those 4 boundaries. Mm-hmm. So I teach my clients how to say no. N-O period is a complete sentence, right?
No explanation required.
No explanation, no justification. But no, I'm sorry, but I cannot do that. No. And I'm not implying here for anyone to be rude or arrogant, right? You understand what I'm saying? But stand up for yourself. Oftentimes, we in today's society, we work on autopilot. We're so proud of multitasking. Everything is automaticity. And when somebody asks us something, even before we even assimilated the question and processed it, we caught ourselves say yes to another thing to just regret it. It's okay to pause. It's okay to say, I'm not sure. Let me get back with you. It's okay. And you know what? People treat us the way we let them treat us. So work on your boundaries. Use that no. No is a complete sentence.
I love that. And a quick note on that, because when you said boundaries, I was thinking, yes. And it's really important to take onus of that, because honestly, our boundaries are our boundaries. It's our responsibility to set those. It's our responsibility to let other people know what they are. And so if someone is overstepping your boundaries, is no one's fault but yours. So plain, simple.
And learning to restore those boundaries comes with a lot of practice, but comes with the awareness of when we let others interfere with our boundaries. So bring that awareness first. And when you bring that awareness, you'll say, oh, this is what it means. This is how it looks when somebody tries to violate those boundaries. So bring the awareness, and then little by little start stopping the pattern of letting others interfere with your boundaries. Just bring the awareness first.
Yes.
And make yourself a priority. Remember, love yourself.
Yes.
So let's move on to the fourth one. I mentioned that the fourth boundary is spiritual boundary. And that takes me to my fourth way of reclaiming your life that has to do with our spirituality and our faith. And when I say faith, Dela, I'm in no way preaching religion here. We're all different, unique. We can find our own expression and choice of who to believe and how to serve, but there must be a faith in a higher power than us, and that we are indeed a part of the whole. And when you think about your faith, taking that moment to be quiet and still, moment in prayer, inviting grace in our lives, because grace cannot be summoned, it cannot be predicted or calculated. We can open only and surrender to invite grace in our life. And when we reach that being, our human being of inviting grace to our life, we enter in a whole new astral plane. And life is so beautiful, and we are so beautiful. And when we have that moment in quietness with ourselves, we try to reach in with our true purpose in life and our true being. I talk to clients that our self and our true self is like an iceberg. And oftentimes in life and in our interactions with other society, we do say, things that we have been programmed to say or do or think. We even don't know who we are. We show that tip of the iceberg. That has nothing to do with our true self. When you have that quiet time, prayer, and meditation, you really get in touch with your true being and what you're about and what is your really life purpose. That's the beauty of life.
Nice. Yes. I've had to rediscover my spirituality too, Teddy, and that happened. When that happened, it was a totally new experience for me, because all my life I was not, I want to say knowingly, I was not a spiritual person. And you're right, a lot of people do mix up spirituality with faith, and spirituality and faith with a religion, with a religious belief. And I want to say that very carefully. I don't mean any offense by this. I'm just saying that I didn't have mine, and I found it. And when I found it, a new world started opening up to me. What a beautiful thing to have faith in something higher than ourselves. It makes my heart sing when we're talking about these things. I think it's so important for our growth, to be open to all this teaching of people who have gone through this, and they live today to tell the story and uplift others with their experiences. Oh, thank you for that, Teddy. Okay.
You're welcome.
All right. Let me see here if there's a question. How can one know himself?
Oh, that is such a great question. That brings me to the fifth way of how to reclaim your life and happiness. Do you know what? We're given this well-intended advice. Just be yourself.
Yes.
Really. And the question is so perfect because how many of us truly know how to be ourselves? Like I said, we have been so programmed by society to act certain way, to say certain things, to think certain way. We even don't know what we are about and who we are. So about 11 months ago, I discovered human design. And this is the most fundamental and deep layer I use in my healing when I work with others, even with myself. Human design is not a belief, and human design is not a philosophy. Actually, human design is a synthesis of the ancient teachings of astrology, the Chinese I Ching. These are the 64 hexagrams, even the seven chakras system, combined with contemporary science, metaphysics, quantum physics, DNA, and biogenetics. So human design encompasses all these teachings to create this beautiful study on your body graph that shows the 9 centers, the head, the ajna. I can go into detail. We need to have another show where I can
Just
talk to
about
our
that.
viewers. I'm so passionate about human design, but human design truly teaches you how to live aligned to your design. And we use all these different types of people. We are supposed to answer and live life not based on our head, because our head doesn't know anything. Our mind actually knows only the past. We're supposed to live and make important decisions in our life based on our unique human design strategy and authority. And I would love to entertain the viewers with more detailed explanation of what human design is about, how it has helped me, and how it can help you. But yes, knowing yourself and undoing the programming, undoing the conditioning of society is peeling off those layers to get to your true unique being. Great question.
Um, so I love this. I would love to know more about this whole human design. So Teddy, what are you saying by this? Like that we all have a design, that each of us have a design, that we
Yes,
are.
which I shared with you some of my photos. Yes, which each of us has a human design, and that is calculated the day of your birth when you were separated from your mother's womb, and 88 days before your birth, the planetary body's alignment. And one side shows your personality side. Personality side is the mind, or who we think we are, the action we put to others, the face we put to the world. And the other side is our design, who we were, inherited our DNA through our ancestors. So the black and the white, the personality and design are intertwined, and there's this beauty and dance of channels and centers, the ajna, how we think. For example, one of the 9 centers of human design is the heart center. That's the ego. And many people, I'm ego centered, actually, projector. And when I read that, I was offended because the society has put this negative connotation to what ego is. Ego is our will. Ego is our self-awareness. And only 35% of the population have a defined heart or ego center. And I can tell you that the reason I'm here where I'm today is because of my strong will, because of my defined heart and determined heart center. So there's so much more to talk about human design with the 9 centers,
I'm
with the
very
channels, with
interested.
the authorities, projectors. About most of the population, about 70% are the generators. People have so much energy, they're full of energy. And I can tell you when I speak to someone if they're a generator, just by the way they carry themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Then we have the projectors, or the wise sages of the world. I'm a projector. About 22% of the population is projectors. We have reflectors and manifestors. Reflectors are only 2% of the population. But that's only just of it. I would love to talk more about
Oh
human
yes, I think we might have to dedicate a whole a few shows
I would love
just
to
just
share.
to
Yeah.
you. I mean, I'm very interested to find out more. Can you imagine? I'm just asking the viewers. Can you imagine finding out what your design is and to be able to live by that design. This is really cool stuff, Teddy. Wow.
Thank you.
It's amazing. It's mind-blowing. And you kept this like for the last 5 minutes?
Do you know what? It was really a last minute. I should have shared a photo too with you, but it has been a very transformational experience. When I started reading and when I first saw the body graph, and I should have even showed you a picture of body graphs, felt like I had been living my whole life to be ready. I had been getting ready for this point of my life where I can actually study, implement, and help others live their life aligned with their human design, what they were destined here to do, their life's purpose, their core genius, the pearl, the abundance in life, prosperity. It is just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful.
It makes it so exciting. I mean, most of us go through our lives asking ourselves that question. What am I here for? What's my purpose? What am I supposed to do with this life? Or, what's my legacy? All these questions that we are dying to find out. And I know for me, it makes it so exciting, by the idea of knowing, oh my gosh, why am I here? Why am I here? Right. And so, the more I can find out about this, the more excited I get. And Mohammed says,
yeah. You know the saying, our most important time in life is not the date of birth or when we die, but the moment when we figure out what our life purpose is.
Yeah.
And the life purpose is not one size fits all. We all have a different life purpose that we need to find out so we can live our life according to our design and with a meaning. Dela, I have a question for you.
Yes, go ahead.
You give a great platform and you give voice to us to share our stories and to help and inspire others. And I hope some of what I shared today in some way inspired our viewers today. What is the common thread you find between those stories of empowerment? What is the common thread to healing and leaving the victim mentality you hear your guests share?
That's a great question. A lot of it. So I think the very first common theme, and it's the very first thing everybody has had, is that turning point. That moment of that rock bottom. For you is the cookies. For me, it was an illness that kind of surfaced in my body. For a lot of people, it's a physical kind of really low point. That's the first thing I've noticed, that everybody has had a turning point, and which brings awareness, right, to the fact that, okay, they no longer want to live there. And then the next, I've heard, yes, forgiving yourself, Teddy. That's just amazing. Forgiving yourself, forgiveness, forgiving yourself, forgiving others for what they have done to you, forgiving yourself for allowing others to do what they've done to you, forgiving yourself for mistreating yourself, for betraying yourself. I think a lot of forgiveness has been the common thread. Spirituality, for sure, finding out that there is something higher than yourself, and being able to surrender power. Sometimes we are so obsessed with control. We think we can control everything. And then it's funny when we find out, the only thing I can control is myself. But it's a fine line. And something that has helped me is the serenity prayer. And I always share it, Teddy, every show. It just seems like I'm sharing this serenity prayer at every single show because it always comes down to it.
I'd love to hear it.
Yeah. So the serenity prayer goes like this. God, grant me the serenity to accept the things I cannot change, the courage to change the things I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Isn't that so huge, Teddy?
It is so powerful. It gave me goosebumps all over our body. And speaking of what you just mentioned earlier, we try so desperately to be in control of life. And actually, we find that when we surrender and when we let go, life just starts flowing effortlessly. Just let go and surrender.
Yeah.
And stop stealing the pen away from God and you wanting to write your story. Let God, divine, whoever you believe in, the universe, finish writing your story. Just surrender, and your life is going to start flowing effortlessly. By the way, Dela, speaking of human design, I want to invite your viewers, if they're interested, I'm starting the first beta group introduction to human design group class that starts in November. So it's literally like 3 weeks for those people that I picked their interest for them to hear more about human design. 3 weeks in a row, 3 Tuesdays in a row. It's on my website starting November 30th on Tuesday, and see if this is something that interests them, so we can go in deeper. So it's
Oh,
on my website, a group class, Living Your Design.
oh, I love it. I love it. Okay, so people can find that on your website.
Yes, ma'am.
Coming going back to your question, I do have one more thing I wanted to add. And all these people, whoever went through a transformation, at some point, they seek the help of someone. And I totally believe that. For me, it was I hired a coach, and then I continued working with coaches and taking different courses. And I mean, they didn't all cost a bunch of money, that some of them were free. So, but it was just that, reaching for help, because honestly, if I had known how to do it myself, I would have already done it. And so that was also important common thread with everybody who has been through some huge transformation. It has been that at some point they have had to ask for help. So Teddy, I have a AAA success formula that I'm always talking about. Do you want to hear that?
Absolutely. What is your success formula?
So Dela's AAA success
I'm writing it down,
formula.
Dela.
Yes. A, admit. Okay, I had to admit to myself at some point that my life was sucking, and that's not where I wanted to live anymore. That moment of admitting, super important to admit it to yourself. Second A is for ask. Like I said, ask for help, because if you knew how to do it already, you would have done it. So ask for help. Ask someone who's already done it, like Teddy said, who has been through that, right? Who knows how it feels. And then the third A is for act, because no matter how much knowledge you amass, unless you act on it, nothing will ever change. So, you've heard the expression shelf help. That's a bunch of knowledge that you just put away and without using it. That's shelf help. Start acting on what you learn. That's my third A.
I love it. I love it.
Thank
So,
you.
any of the viewers who related to what Dela and I shared today, if you're ready, willing, and able and committed to change, reach out to us. Let us know. We'd love to help you. I'd love to hear from you.
That's awesome. Teddy, you're amazing. Thank you so much. I'm so excited to learn about human design. Mohammed actually says a special program is required on human design. Definitely. We're going to schedule that hopefully very soon. And you can come back on the show and just dedicate the whole hour to human design and teach us a little bit more about this. It's such a fantastic idea, knowing, oh my gosh, I was born with a design, and I'd like to know what that design is. I think
Thank
it's
you
very
for having
exciting.
me, Dela. And I'd love to share more with you and your viewers about human design. As you can tell, I am so ecstatic about learning. I found, like I said, I have lived my whole life for this moment to study, learn, and apply and help others live their human design.
Amazing. So Teddy, 5 ways to find freedom and reclaim ownership of your life. Can we just recap quickly?
Absolutely. Starts with forgiveness. Forgive others, but forgive yourself too. Love yourself. Loving yourself is not selfish because love shows up when you do. Okay. Your boundaries. Please practice your boundaries. Practice saying no. No is a complete sentence. Your faith and spirituality are very important. Invite grace in your life and just be yourself. Learn your human design and learn how to live your life with purpose.
Yes. Thank you, Teddy. Thank you
Thank
so
you,
much
Dela.
for this amazing talk and these amazing tools. Your Best Life dot solutions is Teddy Noev's website. Her company is called Your Best Life, Teddy, where she helps you live your best life, which is the only way to live our
Indeed.
best life, right? It's worth it. All the work you put in, it's worth it. Teddy's book is Your Best Life Reclaimed. You can find this book on Amazon, and you can get her first chapter downloaded for free on her website. So go and check it out. And Teddy, thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. What a great and candid conversation we had. We all have stories to tell. It's what we choose to do with them, right, Dela?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Again, here's a before and after picture of Teddy. This is before 1992. And this is Teddy.
Actually, that picture was taken 23 years later. So the first picture is age 23. The second picture is 23 years later. So that would be 46 years of age.
Breaking the chains.
Break your chains today. I challenge you. You break your chains today.
And this is Teddy doing what she does best, which is empowering, inspiring women, not just women.
And men too. I have a chapter for the guys in my book, actually.
Yeah. Thank you. This program of Dela's Voice Sunday Live Talk Show was sponsored very kindly and generously by Teddy Noev, coach, speaker, author, empowering you to live your best life. You can reach Teddy at www.yourbestlife.solutions. Thank you again, Teddy, for being here
Thank you,
today.
Dela, and thank you, guys. Have an amazing day.
Thank you. And for everyone else who's been watching this show today, I hope you found some inspiration and some hope that living your best life is a total possibility. Not always easy, but very simple. Thank you for watching, and I hope to see you next time. This was Dela's Voice, hoping to spark your soul. Bye, Teddy.
Bye, Dela.